Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Today we are talking with Shrylle Mikkonen.
Shrylle Mikkonen.
Shrylle Mikkonen. Man, I am so bad with names these days. I'm so sorry. Shrylle Mikkonen. All right. So not like I didn't practice before.
That one's a mouthful, so you might still get it wrong by the end, but that's okay.
Shrylle. Okay. Welcome to the show. I'm really glad that you're here. You empower people to realize their full potential. And I love that. And we were talking about how much we have in common about wanting the world to be a better place and how great it is that people are stepping into their power and realizing that potential. So thank you for joining us. And how did you get started?
That's an excellent question. I've always been passionate about being the best version of myself. It's something my mother instilled in me. Then I was like, stop it, Mom. What I'm doing is just fine. Mediocre is good. But having been raised that way, in 2007, I was introduced to the book, The Secret, and that premise of what you think about, you bring about, and you have the power to create your reality, and you can have abundance and prosperity and joy, just really lit a fire in my heart to understand that concept on a more spiritual and scientific level. And so for the last 15 years, I've been reading all about self-development and self-help and how you can truly create the world the way you want it to be by focusing on your perception. And that translated into my work life, in my personal relationships, in my interactions with the person at the gas station, to give them a little bit of light. And over the years, it shifted to me wanting to teach people that, hey, you can do this too. It's all possible for everybody. And in my corporate job, I tried to incorporate this passion piece and having these conversations about what sets your soul on fire. And it was really hard to incorporate that in the business world. And so I found ways to inspire my leaders and find my passion in leadership and tried to marry the two. And the drive to share my message just became so powerful that I left my job at the beginning of this year and went all in so that I could have inspiring conversations all the time and hopefully teach people that it's possible and you can be in control in your life. And it doesn't have to be the stressful, mundane, in the motions of doing things if you can get in touch with yourself and your authentic self. And so here I am sharing the message and doing the work that sets my soul on fire in hopes to inspire other people to do the same.
Oh, I love that. It's so true that it's like turning on the light sometimes, and in a dark space. And when you turn your light on, then others feel like, oh, I can turn mine on too. I can be me. I don't have to be somebody else who I was told to be.
I think that's a huge piece of it, is that what do you want to be when you grow up? and you get stuck in this thing and you become a business person, and that becomes your identity. And it was for me, and I loved it. I loved my work, I loved my career, I was passionate about it, I was passionate about my people. But was it really who I wanted to be? Was I living my life the way that if I could choose everything I wanted, is this what it would look like? And the things I wanted to do more of, like cooking and growing flowers and spending time with my family and taking a random day trip somewhere that didn't work around somebody else's schedule. And I'm not saying you have to quit your job to live the life of your dreams. You can absolutely incorporate it, but we get so caught up in, I am a parent, I am a business person, and we forget about what our dreams are and what our soul wants, and getting in touch with that free spirited energy that we all have access to. We just forget that we have access to it.
Yeah, I think we forget is really kind of crucial in this conversation, because we do segment things into blocks, boxes, we like to call them around here. The mom box and the entrepreneur box and the wife box and the maid box, and all of the things that we are part of our everyday existence that have to be part, that you just have to take care of some things in life. But we we often just get overwhelmed, and it just, like, we forget, no, I'm me, I'm not these individual parts, and there's got to be a way to make them harmonious, and let you be you in the process.
I love the way that you put that, because like I said, it's not quitting your job to create this. It's finding the balance and the alignment in all of these things and creating joy in the small pieces. In the beginning, I said the interaction with the guy at the gas station. That's not a monumental, intentional, I'm going to change his life. It's a genuine, hey, how are you today? I hope you're having a great day, and making eye contact. And when I'm cooking the meal for my family, instead of, oh, this is a chore, I gotta cook again. How can I get to be creative. I get to work with my hands. I'm getting to show my love by cooking a meal, and finding little ways to incorporate the creativity and incorporate the joy, and find small ways that as you do more of that for yourself, you turn that light on a little bit brighter each time. And here's the big change the world piece, is that when you're feeling better, the people around you feel that. They feel that energy. And then they go to school or work and they're passing on that energy a little bit. The guy at the gas station is smiling a little more nicely at the next customer who walks in. And the ripple effect is where we have the chance to be the change that we want to see
Yes.
in the world and create it.
Yes, for sure. And when you just acknowledge strangers, it does something to them. It does something to their body chemistry that makes them happier just because they've been seen. How many people just walk through the checkout line, and it's just like they don't even acknowledge that there's another human being in front of them, to have an exchange of, like, how are you doing? And I know they ask you, how was your day? Did you find everything okay? I mean, they have to do that because that's part of their job. But when you genuinely connect with them, it's it it kind of helps them make their day better. And when you can just help one other person, it's just like, if you make a difference every day in one other person, that's 365 people you've affected over the course of a year. And that's just doing it, being nice to one person.
I think that sometimes it comes down to courage. When you're in the grocery line, and not only are we so in our box, I got the groceries, I have to go home, I'm making the meal. So we're in a box as part of it. But then there's also, I use this term loosely, the social anxiety of the interaction. And it is a little uncomfortable to speak to a stranger. We're raised as kids, don't speak to strangers. And then with society as it is now, so social media absorbed, this is what we do. And to take a moment and look up and then have the courage to have a conversation with a stranger, because it's okay to talk to strangers if you're in a safe space and if you're creating a safe space. And I think that's something that we all need to practice and have the courage to just say, hey, I like your outfit. But we don't say that because we're like, oh, would that be weird? What would they think if I said that? And I always say, what would I think if somebody said, I like your outfit to me? Like, oh my gosh, that was nice. That was cool, right? And I would feel this genuine gratitude and give that gift to other people. Don't get so caught up in would they think it's weird? How would you feel if it happened to you?
Yeah, and don't be afraid to interact with people. I mean, people are people. They all have their problems. Everybody's got a problem. If you can just do something that's nice, that helps them just a little bit, it doesn't take much. Hey, I like your shoes. I see people with cool shoes all the time. I'm not an introvert, okay? I wouldn't be doing this show if I were, but I talk to people all the time. I genuinely like people, and a lot of them wear really cool shoes. That's so strange. I can't wear high heels anymore. I've reached that point in my life where I just like sandals or tennis shoes. Sometimes I'll wear my boots, but mostly it's sandals and tennis shoes. And I just love looking at other people's shoes.
I'm comfort over class, baby. Comfort over class.
Yeah,
But
me
it
too.
is taking the time to notice other people, and it doesn't have to be grandiose things that we do to change our own lives.
Mm-mm.
It's true that we're stressed, we're overwhelmed, there's to-dos, and how can we manage our stress? How can we change our mindset? Because that's where it all begins. We create these beliefs and we tell ourselves, my life is so stressful, my life is so busy, I'm so overwhelmed, and you keep repeating that message to yourself, and then you feel like there's no way out. And
Depression
giving the
happens.
awareness to people that they have the power to change that perception is astronomical if they're open to it. But some people don't even know it's a possibility. So the art of the possible is the art of the magic, and part of the message that I want to be able to share with everybody.
It seems like such a simple message, but it took me years to discover it. It was just like, and when I did, it's like, oh, I have all the power. And when you come to realize you have all the power to make life the way you want it to be, that's so empowering. Just like,
Plain and simple. That's so true. It is empowering, and it's not like you reach a point where you get it, right? It's always a practice, because our mind is always playing tricks on us and telling things we're not good enough. And you're always going to have stressful situations. You might always have to have a job, whatever that looks like to you, but it doesn't have to define and put you into a box where you can't create something bigger and better for yourself. I always say success breeds success. That's not an original. Everybody's heard that saying. But the definition of success is different from person to person. To one person, that might mean living off the grid in the cottage in the woods. For another person, that might mean lavish holiday vacations at all-inclusive resorts, or, weekly getaways with their family. But climbing the corporate ladder and being a CEO of whatever corporation that you want to be a part of, like however you define success. But that's part of the problem too, is some people don't even know, what does success look like to me? What does my dream life look like? What do I want out of life? Because we dive right into the to-dos and the responsibilities, that all the possibilities kind of drift away. And then it's hard to, I'm amazed at how many people I'm like, so what brings you joy? What do you like to do for fun? Well, I don't know. I guess I work a lot. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's great. Does it bring you joy? And maybe it does, but if it doesn't, how can you incorporate things that do bring you joy? And what does success look like? What is your dream life? I just have to share this. I saw this woman on TikTok yesterday, and she was giving a little tour of her house, and her clip was, I collect weird things. And she had a little hamburger telephone, and she had a little chair that was a flower, and each of the petals broke out into an individual chair. And they were just, she had pink walls in her house. And who says you can't have pink walls in your house? Like, you're an adult, you can do whatever you want. And we restrict our creativity in the box. And she really gave me this vision of creativity and freedom that we forget about. And it doesn't have to be as lavish as painting your walls pink, but use that as an analogy to get in touch with your creative side and play with it. Play with the creative energy, because when you get in that space, it's childlike, and it's such a fun energy to be in if you can unleash the creative beast.
Yeah, and giving yourself permission to not have to conform. Like, my daughter painted the door in her room, which we now live in. And I love that door. I mean, she didn't just like paint it one color. She made it's an image, but it's an abstract sort of sea motif. At least that's what I see in it. But it's like every time I go in the room and I see the door, I'm just like filled with her. I know that she created it, and I love that door. And there was a time when we had this house that only had 3 bedrooms, and my father-in-law lived with us, and I had 3 kids. So the boys slept in the family room. That was their bedroom. It had 2 doors, but it didn't have a door to the rest of the house. So, I mean, you can just, there are no rules. You know, you're talking about painting walls pink. I'm like, it's a room. You can make it whatever you want.
Absolutely. There's
Fits your needs.
the freedom that comes with that, and the way that you emotionally are triggered in such a beautiful way every time you see that door.
Mhm.
It's a connection that you share with your daughter, whether she's there or not.
Mhm.
And the expression that she was able to put into that, and the pride that she could see in her art. And um have you ever heard of the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron?
No, I'm writing that
It's
down.
it's such a it's a 12-week workbook basically, and it talks about getting in touch with your inner artist. And
Mhm.
my mom gave me the book, and I kind of discounted it. I was like, I'm not an artist. I can't draw. I'm not a painter. And eventually I dove into the book a couple of years later, and it talks about your inner artist just getting in touch with your creativity. So to me, my creativity might be sitting by the water reading a book. And it's this energy of creative playfulness and freedom that I feel. And maybe it's in the kitchen when I'm cooking a meal and I'm working with my hands. I didn't used to think of cooking as being creative, but now I recognize that that's kind of a creative outlet for me. And having the courage to try new things is a huge empowerment piece, that once you have the courage to try something new, you open this whole door of exciting possibilities, and that's where the dreaming can start. Oh, I didn't even know that I liked going to community plays. That's way outside my zone, but turns out I loved it and I'm passionate about it. And maybe you become involved, or maybe it's just a hobby that you have on Friday nights to go watch the play. And trying those new things and getting outside of your box takes courage, but that's where you get into the playful energy, but also begin to dream and design your life the way you want to. Go ask a 5-year-old kid what they want their house to look like when they grow up. instead of what they want to be when they grow up, and ask yourself those questions, and you can become so expansive. And when you start to feel playful and bring this happiness about you, that's what everybody wants, to be happy. And much like success, happiness has its own definition. It's very different to you than it is to me. But if we can embrace that and find out what triggers our happiness, how to manage the stress and get out of the box, and then share that with other people and be the change.
Yeah, just the idea of changing how you view the world, your perception, and allowing yourself the freedom to just let whatever happens happen, but having a vision of what daydreaming. We were told so much, don't daydream, but that's where all great ideas start. It's in a daydream, you know. I remember once when I was hiking, I was a teenager, we would go on these long hiking trips, and I was the tallest, so I had to carry, I have two sisters, and my mom was short. My sisters are short also, shorter than I am. So I always had to carry the lion's share, and I would have to daydream because I was in so much pain carrying this junk. Um, and I would daydream about having chickens. And, we always lived in the city. So we never had chickens or a garden or animals. I mean, we had a dog, but that was it. No cats. And as I got older, I realized that, that's what I wanted. I wanted a farm. I wanted animals. I wanted to know what it was like to be in the country and to grow things and to have lots of animals and to know how to, butcher animals and to be self-sufficient. I mean, I know there are vegetarians out there and vegans out there that are just like, oh no, I promise you, if we butchered our own food, you wouldn't eat very much meat. It's a hard process, especially if you know the animal. And I knew all the animals that I have ever butchered. But there's a process of life that you really get to understand when you live close to the land. And it started as a daydream when I was 14, and I didn't realize it until I was 45. But it all starts with a thought. What if this could be a possibility for us?
I love that that it came full circle for you, and you have to be willing to dream. And sometimes it's hard questions. For some people, dreaming is scary and intimidating, and it feels impossible. And, if you look around the internet, people are doing incredible things that you're like, that's how they're making money? Because oftentimes we say that money is the thing that's holding us back, but that's not true. It's fear that's holding people back. It's a lack of courage. It's a lack of confidence. It's our perception that we have about ourselves and the world around us and what's possible. And if we can get in touch with what those beliefs are that we're holding and change them, and like you said, change our perception about the world and what's possible, we can start to reel me back in. What I lost my train of thought here.
Start to really actually see these things happen in your life. As soon as you open the possibility up and entertain the idea, hey, maybe I could have chickens. Doesn't matter, I don't know anything about them. Or goats. I didn't know goats only had teeth on the bottom until I had them for several months. I wanted goats. Don't ask me why, but I loved my goats. They were amazing creatures, and I learned so much from them. But it all started with a hike when I was 14 years old, thinking, hey, I really want this for my life. I don't want to just be a business person or having to work all the time, and that would suck up my whole life. And it took a while for it to happen, but things came along that presented themselves and just made it a possibility. And it was for a season. The thing that most people, I think, get caught up in is they look at life as though what I'm doing right now is a forever thing. And it never is. There's always a season. And this season can be whatever you want it to be. The next season is going to come. So be prepared. Continue preparing for the next season as you're enjoying the season that you're in. And see how life doesn't just expand for you in terms of how much joy you can find knowing that now is just now and later is going to be different. And you get to choose how different it's going to be. It doesn't have to just be a surprise. If you like surprises, it could be. But I promise you, we grow the seeds we're planting today, we'll harvest in a few months.
That's such a great reminder, Jill, that nothing is permanent, and you can choose and create anything you want, and nothing can hold you back. As much as you say, I can't do this because of finances or because of the way I was raised, so you can change it. You can change your finances, you can change your job, you can change the way you spend your money so that you can have more money to do the things you want. I hear so often, I can't do this because of my finances. Well, who's stopping you from making more money? Nobody, you. That brings me back to the people on the internet who are doing the silliest things. I just posted this morning. There's this woman who I follow. It's called the Dope Kitchen, and she gets high on marijuana and then cooks a meal. And she's silly and she's funny and she's authentic and she's expressing her creativity. And I think she just started doing it for fun with no intention of anything grandiose. And now she has brands reaching out to her and she's advertising all kinds of things through her cooking videos. And she works from home and her job is to get stoned and bake goodies. Like, don't tell me that your dream isn't possible, because anything is possible if you believe it. And again, she probably didn't start out with the intention of, I'm going to create a life by doing these things, but she just got in touch with what brought her joy. And all these doors opened that she never even imagined possible because she was willing to just play. And we all have to do that and take the
Yes.
risk and
And
change
when
your
you
perception.
get into that zone, things become easy. When you're trying to do something that you really shouldn't be doing or isn't really aligned with who you are, it's always really difficult. And it's like pushing the rock up the hill. But when you're in the zone where you know what you're doing, you know how it feels, you're really excited about it, man, it's just like all the doors fling open and it's easy sailing.
So easy. Absolutely. That's the name of my business is Align Life Works. And I'm a Libra, and a Libra is always looking for balance. And if we can aim to create balance in all the areas of our lives and incorporate more joy and creativity and all the things I've been talking about, and you get in alignment with your true self and your authentic self and what your purpose is and what brings you joy, life just works and it's easy and it flows. And that's the message that I want to share, that it's possible. You just got to figure out how to do that. And the information is out there, right? That's the thing about all these things. The information was out there for me to learn how to do a business, but I didn't know what to do. I was like, I know what to do, but I don't know what to do next. And that's where having a coach helps you, because I've done the process. I know what can work, and I can help hold you accountable and give you the energy to have. You are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So surround yourself with somebody who's enthusiastic and inspiring and believes in you and believes it's possible. And take all the extra time wasted that you're searching and researching and trying to figure out how it works, and let somebody show you the way, and be surrounded by somebody who believes in you and make it happen.
And that brings me to workbook that you put together. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I created a free 5-day challenge for the people in my community it's called From Stress to Success, to help them learn how to manage stresses, understand how it affects our body. So many of the ailments and dis-ease that we have in our body stems from stress, and that's within our control. And so throughout this program, we talked about what is stress and how it affects our body and how we can manage it, and the overthinking and anxiety that keeps us in the box, and how to step outside that, and analyzing our limiting beliefs, and how creating confidence gives us the courage to step outside that box and ask those hard questions and the fun questions and create the life that you want. So in this workbook, it gives all that information, a little quiz to kind of help you see where you're at. It's a fun little 2-minute quiz, and then a little information about each topic, and then some really deep introspective journaling questions. And you can sit down and do it for one question at a time. And that's something that I offer, I'm looking to offer for free, so that people can kind of get a jump start on their journey and experience some of that introspection and soul searching, if you will, to get on their journey to creating the life that you deserve and that you want. And it starts by asking questions that you weren't asking before.
And they can find that workbook by joining your Facebook group?
Yes. Facebook.com/AlignLifeWorks is the private Facebook group that you can join. I would love to have you as a part of the community. And you can also follow my public profile, Shrylle.Mikkonen. I hope Jill will put that in the comments, because
Absolutely.
it's a mouthful to say and spell. But join me, join my community, participate, follow along. I'd love to inspire your listeners and your community to know that it's possible, and to dream bigger, and to teach them how to get there.
Be the change they want to see in the world.
Yes.
So what's the one thing you want to leave the audience with today?
The one thing I want to leave the audience with today is, if you don't believe that it's possible yet, if you can't see that far, then borrow my belief until you can see it for yourself. And it is possible. And if you can dream it, you can do it. And if you believe it, you can achieve it. And as cheesy as those things are, that's the truth.
You really do work. And I've been witness to it so many times, both in my life and in the lives of other people I've seen. It's like, it's some kind of magic.
It is. And we all have access to the magic to play in the world as we want to see it.
Yep. Thanks so much for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order, or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.